So left knee stiffness here, and little feels almost like it's more of a stability issue today. It's being irritated, like if I go into like being down here. So if I gotta pick things up off the floor, or like this morning, I had to make the bed. I had to get down to tuck the sheets in. There's different things that around the house I'm doing that I've got to be able to do, like deep knee bend and squat down here. And so this side gets really irritated today. Not like serious, but it's enough where it's got my attention. It's not usual for me. So all this means is that, I'm human like anybody else. And so every now and then something comes up. And, it's not so much that like we should just be pain-free and nothing ever happens. We never get a twinge of something. We never like feel some kind of instability or some a nagging ache or something, a twinge of something. We shouldn't be dealing with it chronically, but it also, we should be able to do some things and be proactive about it and have a step-by-step system that will decrease pain or stiffness, whatever it is, and improve our ability to move so that we can move well, hopefully move without pain, but we don't want it to be something that is limiting what we can do. You don't want to be limited by restrictions and pain and things like that. So, it's not just a matter of go rest, avoid every movement that aggravates it, and just hope for the best, hope that it gets better, and then start getting back to the things that you want to do. You got to be proactive about it, because that's always going to leave you vulnerable. It's going to feel better, but then when you get back into doing the same things that irritated it in the first place, it's going to flare right back up, and you're always dealing with kind of the on again, off again cycle of it, and it's frustrating. And it's even more frustrating when you go to the doctor, you get like x-rays done, an examination done, and they go, well, we don't see anything wrong. There's no tears in anything, nothing's damaged, right? And so the advice usually is something along the lines of avoid the movements that cause pain or make it worse. Take some ibuprofen if it gets bad enough, or maybe ice it, and maybe lose some weight, if you need to lose some weight, something like that, right? It's not really helpful. It's more about that's about managing symptoms, but it does nothing to tackle the root cause of the problem so that it doesn't keep coming up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to work a little bit of mobility. So I tend to work kind of from the easiest end of things, and then get into more complex and go higher up the system if I need to. So sometimes I could do certain like movements or drills that will just unlock it right away. And other times I've got to be a little more strategic and dig into my toolbox of tricks and do a little bit more advanced stuff to get there. So I'm going to start with just doing some kind of easy single leg rock backs and work some rotation as well, just because I know my thoracic spine tends to not always be doing this movement, rotating very well. Today's one of those days. If you're wondering why would that be important, what does that have to do with my knee being stiff and feeling irritated, has a lot to do with it, because rotation is one of the movements that our bodies are designed to do, and our bodies rotate. They don't always rotate like this, but there's rotation in every joint in the body. Our bodies are designed to rotate. If this part of me up here, my thoracic spine, basically is like my upper back, if it doesn't rotate well, and I'm going through movements where I need that rotation, I have to move in ways, pick things up, reach, do things, right? Move in ways that require that rotation. If I'm limited or lacking it or restricted in it, then I'm going through these movements and I may not even be aware of it. My body then has to compensate. If I can't move in a certain way, something either above or down below that area has to overcompensate to allow me to do what I'm trying to do, to move in the way that I'm trying to do. So that means that a lot of times other areas of the body can take on added stress, such as a lower back or a knee. So this can have a lot to do with it. So this is kind of a two-in-one, where I can just work on this kind of side where if I get into that deep knee bend, it can irritate it. So I can just slowly work myself from here, and I do what we call a rock back, where I can just control how much I move, and I don't overload. I don't force my knee to bend any more than I can comfortably tolerate. I'm not trying to grind it out and make myself grimace and force a movement. I'm gradually trying to introduce movement and see if I'm able to, or how much I'm able to move here. And I just get an idea of where my body's at for today. Where's my knee at? So when I do it like this actually feels pretty good. So I'm able to move through here, and then what I'll do, I'll just do a few of these, and then I'll hold this position as far back as I can get without pain, and then I'll add in some rotations on this end. So I'm working kind of two ends of where my limitations are, and just working through this. So I'll do maybe about 8 or 10 of these, and just see how I'm moving. This is feeling okay. And I'll do this on both sides. That one, and then I'll do over here. Now over here, I can rock back pretty good, pretty comfortable. No issues here, because this knee, this is what I'm doing. I'm getting it to bend, and this is almost mimicking more of kind of that deep knee bend, deep squat position, just on a single leg. I'll hold in here. Now this side, I tend to have a little bit more limited mobility in my rotation, but today, this actually feels pretty good. Yeah, this feels a lot better. All right, so there I am with that one. Now, just for the sake of it, I'm sitting back here. I'm almost like retesting. So I'll do some kind of an exercise or a drill, and then I'll retest the same movement and just see, is there any improvement? So I can get a better idea if that exercise I did or that drill, if my body basically likes it, if that's something I need to keep doing. If I get an improvement, my knee moves better, or there's less irritation, it just feels better, maybe it feels more stable. Any or all of those things are kind of green lights that, yeah, I want to keep that drill in there. So I can get into now this position here. If I stand up from there, that feels a lot better for me. Like earlier, I was very tentative on this side, getting up and down, and my movement was very slow because of that. So this definitely feels a lot better. So right there, I found something that works really well for just helping to unlock some movement. So that's how I tend to work through issues with like limited mobility, movement restrictions, pain, things like that. So hopefully this gives you an idea of if you're dealing with this, something and maybe some things you can do, kind of an approach that you can take to work through the issue. The main point that I want to emphasize is that, number one, I'm proactive about what I'm doing. So I am not just, taking the day off, not moving, not putting any weight on my leg, and just resting and waiting for it to go away. That to me, it's not a very good long-term plan, because like I said, it leaves you vulnerable for the same thing to keep cropping up. It's like there's a weak link somewhere in your system. Your body is a movement system. And if you don't address it and clean it up, you're always going to be vulnerable to this stuff. And at the same time, I'm not doing, on the completely other side of the fence where I'm trying to just push through it, right? Just push through the pain and tough it out, because, pain, I look at pain like it's a warning signal. It's your brain and nervous system telling you something is wrong somewhere. And it's like information. It doesn't mean that you have to stop moving altogether. It doesn't mean that you can't do certain movements or do certain activities anymore because they're bad for you, right? Or they're bad for your knee. I don't look at it that way at all. And I've known in 25 years of working with people, chronic pain cases and surgeries and all kinds of things, mobility restrictions and limits and all these things, it's never been the case that I have seen in 25 years of doing this.
I've always been able to help my clients improve. Now, that doesn't mean that they're all completely like they were just pain-free and they lived in this magic fairy tale land and nothing bothered them again. You know, they had their times where things would crop up. But the thing that we saw across the board was that their movement improved. They felt a lot better than they did when they began. They became healthier. And when they had pain, they didn't have it as often as they did before. So they've gone from like chronic pain, dealing with issues all of the time, or pain that maybe it's not all the time, but it's there a lot. And it's so bad that it's on their mind all of the time. And it limited the things that they could do. And it was like slowly taking away their ability to do some of the things that they love to do. And so what we saw is improvements in that allowed them to get back to doing those things. The flare-ups happened a lot less often. And when they did happen, even most importantly, is they had the tools to be able to manage it and to make it feel better and get themselves moving better and get themselves feeling like back to normal again so they could get back to doing the things that they love. So that's the point of this video. It's not to try to give you kind of a one-size-fits-all to fix your knee. It's more of hopefully a way that you can take from this, a process by which you can use to look at issues that you might be dealing with, and gives you maybe kind of a framework that you can use to work on your own issues. And that's the intention behind this, is to kind of show my framework, my approach, and to give that to you, that, you know, take from it what you will and use it in some way to help you move better, feel better, and live better, and get back to doing the things that matter most to you.